earlier today, confirmed by both driver and team, Hailie Deegan officially out at AM Racing altogether. It's not just a one-race deal. Josh Berry will be in the 15 this weekend at Pocono. Now, Deegan released this statement just before 10 o'clock this morning. Beginning this season, I had a lot of excitement and hope in taking my next step in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. It's something I've been working towards for years and always dreamt about. I worked hard to prepare for this season after the team pursued me to drive their car. Unfortunately, it has not turned out the way that I expected. There are always several reasons within a race team as to why things do or do not work, but sadly, our goals no longer align. With that being said, myself and AM Racing will be parting ways. The only thing I am focused on is getting back to being competitive. That is all that matters to me. I'm working as quick as possible to find the best opportunities to get back to the track. I'm thankful for the following that I have and everyone who supports me. It's truly only me that knows the whole story and what I need to succeed. See you at the track soon. That's from Hailie Deegan. And then a few minutes later, AM Racing putting out a statement of their own. AM Racing and Hailie Deegan have decided to part ways effective immediately. We are grateful for Hailie's contributions and dedication as the driver of a number 15 Ford Mustang during her time with the race team. We wish Hailie the best in her future endeavors and look forward to her continued success on and off the track. Once again, just what's your general reaction to the news that I think at this point isn't too surprising, unfortunately?
Yeah, just overall gutted for her. And when we heard that Logano was going to be in the car for Chicago, it was sort of the red flag last weekend or last Monday. We talked about that and how I felt like this is turning into like a Trevor Baynes situation from 2018, whenever that took place with Roush Fenway basically at their last resort, last bitter end, and bringing in the help from Matt Kenseth and others. But yeah, this is really. I didn't expect it to be permanent. I thought maybe it was going to be out for one race. I guess I was being naive in that sense. I thought it was going to be for one race, and then they said in the Chicago weekend that it was going to be also for Pocono, and you think, oh no, and then we get the news that it's actually that she's out of the team. So, yeah, ARCA is the last place she did have success. Trucks didn't go well either with ThorSport. It's just a really touchy subject, Ben, and so I'm not really sure how to attack it in a way that is respectful. But I mean, we've been talking about Hailie Deegan and this is a make or break year for her for months and months. And last year we talked about it. I don't discount her talent, but it's not working. And the goals they're talking about there, I think AM Racing is looking down the line at what's happening next year with Ford Performance, and they want to fit somewhere in that puzzle. And they probably think time is of the essence, and we can't do it with Hailie. And so we need to find someone who can thoroughly test our equipment and show potential buyers into AM Racing what we're capable of, or maybe drivers next year. It's not working out for either AM Racing or Hailie Deegan. Hate it for that, but she will find a landing spot somewhere. I hope. And the way she said it in the PR statement, the opportunities that I have, I saw that somewhere in that last paragraph. So when I first read that, I thought, oh, does she have something? Yeah. Does she have something lined up possibly? When she said, I'm thankful for the following that I have, speaking about opportunities, I would think.
Yeah, I kind of read that as just maybe her fan base and her supporters there. But, she again does say she's working on trying to find those opportunities. And I would have to think there's, some team out there at some level that would certainly be interested in her services in the not too distant future. I doubt that she's going to be completely out of a seat for very long here. And again, Brandon, I know, like you said, it's not fun talking about this. We wish we could be talking about her, in a much more positive sense, running competitively in this series. But, Joe and I talked about, Deegan's career kind of being in a crossroads on Women in Motorsports last week. And we got two comments. We got more than two comments, but two comments in particular stood out to me. One, basically saying, you guys are just, being way too hard on her. You're expecting too much of her. And maybe you boys just don't want to see a girl come in and, tear it up and have success here at this series. And then we had
I want to see that.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, but this
please.
is the thing, though. The exact same video. We had a comment from somebody else saying, well, you fanboys just don't want to accept that she's talentless and she can't drive in this series and it was never going to work out. And I'm like, well, I guess that's how you know you've achieved being neutral and objective in your analysis, is when you have people on both sides thinking you're totally off the deep end in terms of your analysis here, and it's the complete polar opposite response. I guess that's when you know that you're doing a good job remaining objective there. But regardless, the point being, you can't find something to say that's going to please 100% of the people 100% of the time. I think you only need to be on the internet for a few minutes to have that be proven to you.
And that's why I find it so difficult to say anything about this, because I mean, either way, you'll either think I'm the S word, or you'll think or you think I'm being too hard on her. So I mean, what do you want me to say?
Yeah. Well, and again, that's why to be in this business, you have to be able to have thick skin, because no matter what you say, there's going to be somebody out there that hates you for it. And certainly on a subject like this, nonetheless, where something is so polarizing here. Let's catch up on the chat as we continue this discussion here. Do you think other rookies, this is from TK, do you think other rookies doing so well hurt her more? Maybe perhaps, certainly the Jesse Loves of the world, it's proof that, you can come in, there are exceptional talents. I mean, Ty Gibbs was another example of that, skipping over the truck series entirely after a lot of success in ARCA. But again, I think if you look at their career trajectories, scoring double-digit wins in ARCA, I think in a single season, I think Jesse Love had 10 wins in ARCA last year, if I recall correctly. We were calling him Jesse Verstappen on this show because he was so dominant in that series. So, I think Jesse Love was expected to outperform Hailie Deegan coming into this year. And again, that's not, necessarily Hailie Deegan's fault. It's just, where they are in terms of their development and the performance that we saw before they got to this level. And so you put them both in an Xfinity car, you would expect that Love's going to pick it up a little bit quicker.
And look, Ben, this is the point that I think AM Racing is trying to make, and I think we're going to see it next weekend at Pocono Raceway. Joey Logano finished 8th for AM Racing. 8th in that same car. I think if Hailie Deegan were in that car at Chicago, we would have saw her finish, 31st? Caught up in an accident? 28th?
Yeah, I mean
somewhere that's not a
I
bad
hate to, I'm just going to say, 28th, 28th probably is much more realistic. And even then, I think,
we see her results every week. We know what they're talking about.
I think the whole reason that AM Racing did this to begin with was they need the owner points. I mean, there was forget finishing the race in the, bottom end of the top 30 or outside the top 30. There were questions as to whether or not she was going to be able to qualify. If she didn't put down a competitive enough lap time in qualifying, would she even be able to start the race? Because Brad Perez didn't qualify for the race. He's obviously had some strong road course runs and lesser equipment even this year in the Xfinity Series. And, with Joey Gase's team, obviously, we saw what happened to Frankie Muniz out in Portland. That team obviously doesn't have the equipment or the support that, Deegan was getting at AM Racing with their technical alliance with SHR. But, Brad didn't make the race. It's not an indictment on his talent. It's just a clear indication of how stacked the entry lists in the field were. So, again, I feel like you have to judge everybody on an individual performance. So, again, TK following up here, SVG and Love doing really well. Well, we knew, SVG, it's kind of strange to call him a rookie in this setting here, right? Is he technically by the books a rookie in Xfinity this year? Of course. Is he a rookie, at the Chicago street race? Should he have had the rookie stripes on his car this weekend? Probably not. That's just...
Yeah, and also for the Cup winner of the last year to have the rookie stripe on this year was funny too.
On the Xfinity car this year, right?
But also on the Cup car, he had the rookie stripes on.
Reminds me when they put it on Bill Elliott's car when he did his one-off return at Road America, because he never raced there before,
right,
in a stock car. So, it certainly doesn't help the perspective. But again, we said on Women in Motorsport earlier this year, we know Jesse Love's probably going to be number 1. SVG is going to be number 1 on the road courses, probably number 2 overall. the goal for Hailie Deegan would be to finish third in the Rookie of the Year battle. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. But, I think we knew that, they were going to be kind of in a class of their own, when it came to that. So, Corrido MVP 11 says, do you think Hailie Deegan could go to another motorsport? Well, I just see our own Jackson Lambros in the chat here. Good to see you, Jackson, and pointing out that she's competed in Michelin Pilot Challenge and Pilot Sport with Ford. So again, I think, she's had some modest success there in the few races that she's done. Maybe that could be an option for her. Obviously, taking a step down the stock car ladder, going back to ARCA, if she wanted to continue pursuing the NASCAR route, I think that would be the best landing spot for her. And of course, you look at what her father Brian and her brother Hudson are doing right now, and off-road Supercross world. I think probably not a direct move over to Supercross, going from 4 wheels to 2. I think would be a pretty radical career change at this point for her. But doing some off-road racing, I think she'd be very competitive doing that, because that's certainly more her background. They called her the Dirt Princess as she was coming up through the ranks. For a reason there, and of course that's where she scored one of her K&M West wins on the Las Vegas dirt track.
Yeah, from what little I saw from her on the Michelin Pilot Challenge with I think one year she had a car paired with Chase Briscoe, and I think one time Harrison Burton as well, just a Ford Performance group there. But pretty competitive out there on the track, and able to actually pass and maintain with the pack, and so definitely competitive on that side of the sports car world.
Yeah, and Jackson bringing up as well a similar thing going on in Indy Next with Lindsey Brewer, who's going to be out of that seat at Hunko Salinger in their Indy Next program for the foreseeable future as well. Another comment here from Corrido MVP 11. What Hailie Deegan's future? I don't know. If I was her, I'd just do late models, see if I can get a part-time ride. Okay, well, this is the second time I've seen this come up, and it looks like Isaac's here in the chat as well, thinking Hailie's going to stay in Xfinity in 2025. But I think it was Isaac that brought up the 88 as well for Dale Earnhardt Jr. And I don't disagree with this. That Jr. Look who's in the 15 this week: Josh Berry, one of Junior's late model drivers. Certainly. You can attribute a lot of his success and his opportunities to the development that Dale Jr. provided through Junior Motorsports. And, goodness, it goes all the way back to Brad Keselowski, and, countless drivers have come up through that pipeline and that program. There's no denying that he can develop talent very, very well. But again, I'll just say the same thing that I said to Isaac last week. I think when you look at, relatively speaking, her lack of performance compared to her teammates in the Truck Series, and then certainly lack of performance here in the Xfinity Series this year with equipment that at worst was not far off from what Cole Custer and Riley Herbst were getting, and Cole Custer being the defending champion and championship favorite again this year. I don't know how you can justify putting her in that level of a seat like this, even if it's part-time here, given what she hasn't been able to showcase in the Xfinity Series this season. I think, the next step for her, again, if she wants to stay in the NASCAR world, in the stock car racing world, go back down a level or two, probably to ARCA, try to prove yourself there. And again, maybe it doesn't even have to be with Ford. Maybe, a Chevrolet program could give her something. Maybe she could go back to Toyota and get an Venturini car. It would certainly be good equipment down there, good opportunity for her. So I wouldn't want her to, leave that door closed just because she's been a Ford driver for the last several years now. But again, I think it would be crazy to put her in a seat like that, even if it's just on a part-time basis, because I think she's proven, through her performance this year, but she probably made this jump too quickly.
Yeah, that seems to be the best course of action. Go down to ARCA, go to do a Venturini Toyota, and dominate too. Go down there and dominate with the best equipment in the field, and then we'll talk about moving back up.
Yeah, and I see no reason to believe that she would do any worse than she did 4 or 5 years ago. And I know she didn't win an ARCA race in 2020, didn't exactly set the world on fire, but she did finish third in points. She had a couple of races where, had things gone slightly differently, maybe she could have been in the mix to win a couple of races that year. So It's not like she was absolutely terrible in ARCA. She certainly wasn't terrible in K&N West. She was a 3-time race winner. So,
She wasn't bad in SRX either.
Yeah, SRX, another good point. A couple of runner-up finishes there. And to have, I mean, again, it hasn't been great in terms of results, but she's gotten a lot of seat time. She's been full-time in a truck for 3 years and full-time in an Xfinity car for half a season now as well. It's not like she's taken several years off and then would be jumping back into an ARCA seat. I think she'd have a great opportunity to perform well if given the right opportunity in that series.